Hi everyone, and welcome to this live stream for Swoosh English and Connetics. My name is Luke, and today we are going to be looking at IELTS writing and specifically at bar charts. So thanks for joining us, and let's get started. So looking at bar charts, in writing task 1, it's really important that you take into account a couple of different factors. Hi Alice, hi, welcome to the stream. Lovely to see you joining us, and welcome everybody else. So in writing task 1s, especially for your academic training, it is possible to be too detailed. If you look at the task description, it asks you to summarize and report the main trends, the overall information. That word summarize, you are not giving all of the data in lots and lots of detail. Now, you'll hear people saying that in task 1 there is no maximum word count and you should be able to write as much as you like. That's true. But if you look on the task achievement band descriptors, under band 5, it says there is a tendency to focus on detail. So if you are writing 250 words for your academic task 1 and you are scoring low marks in your tests, you may ask people in public forums, you may ask them in YouTube comments, and lots of people will say that they don't understand why you wrote plenty for task 1. If you're writing 250 words for task 1 and scoring quite a low score, you are probably focusing on detail and reporting too much. So remember, we're looking for trends, we're looking to give overall information, we're looking for the most important or key points. We don't want to give everything and don't want to give it in too much detail. Hi Aisha, joining us from Pakistan. Welcome to the stream. Hi Kristan from, doesn't say where she's coming from. I believe the Philippines, but correct me if I'm wrong. And Bert joining us from the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. Welcome, Bert. Great to see you guys coming back. So, as I said, if you're writing a lot for your academic task 1s, 250 words is probably too much, and you are probably focusing on detail. The caveat, there is no maximum word count, but the task achievement band descriptor is very clear. Now, you must also give a clear overview. This is the overview of the main trends or main features, the things that you think are most important, and it must be very, very clear. Oh, Kristan, coming from Abu Dhabi. Okay, coming from Abu Dhabi. Sorry about that. So the overview then must be really clear. If you don't give a clear overview, you can't score higher than band 5. So be really careful. Hi, Kate, joining us from the Philippines, and Rukevwe joining us from Nigeria. I hope I've got that pronunciation correct. Without the students on the stream as well, it can be very difficult to know. But yeah, I hope that I am pronouncing your names correctly. Okay, so make sure that you're giving a clear, separate overview in task 1, and start it with a word like overall to show the examiner exactly where it is. They're not going to spend lots of time looking and trying to guess what your overview is. Make it nice and easy for them. Okay, so looking at bar charts then, remember, we don't want to give all the data. So we need to think about how we're going to summarize and group data for our description. We need to select the main features that we want to report, things like maximums, minimums, biggest differences, similarities. That kind of information is going to really help. Now, remember, you must also give numbers from the task as well. If you're not giving numbers, that will limit your task achievement, but we don't want to give all the numbers unless we have to. Think of how to group data together. Now, another problem with the bar charts is the language that people use. So in many of these bar chart tasks, the language used is direct comparison. You're comparing, let's say, between males and females, or comparing between different countries. A was more than B. There were twice as many people who chose A compared to B, something like that. Be really, really careful with line graph vocabulary. One of the issues that people have is they start using vocabulary that they would usually use for a line graph, and it's not always appropriate. And this applies to tasks where you have time on one of the axes, usually the x-axis. If that shows time, you need to be really, really careful with line graph vocabulary. People like to say things like, for example, the number of people purchasing mobile phones rose very quickly, quickly giving you speed. If along the bottom, the groupings for data, 1980, 1990, and 2000, so 10-year groupings between the data, that might not be the right word to use because you don't know what happened in between. So significantly, talking about the size of the change, yes. Quickly or slowly or gradually, all of these words showing speed or rate of change, be really, really careful. Sometimes you can use it, often you can't. So think very carefully about the time differences along that x-axis. Nivya is joining us from India. Hi, Nivya. Welcome to the stream. Lovely to have you joining us. So be very careful with the kinds of vocabulary that you're using. Here we have a really simple bar chart task. Actually, this is only half a task. The other half would probably be giving similar data for women. But the main point that we're looking at here is a couple of ways that we could compare and use the language of comparison, and also to identify the really important data that we probably want to include, or ways that we could group the data. So let's have a quick look. What data is probably going to be important here? Well, as you can see, there is a clear maximum. So action films or action movies, think of some of the different ways you could say that. Films, movies, quite a good way to avoid repeating vocabulary. Action films is our clear maximum, and as we can see, it's twice as high as anything else. And we have a clear minimum as well, romantic comedies. In terms of the other data in between, comedies we've got coming in second highest, thrillers in the middle, science fiction and Western, that would be very good data to group together. So we can group both of those numbers, cover them in one description. Okay. Another way that we might do this is to compare between the parts of the task as well, or compare between the different genre of films. That would be another good way to avoid going into too much detail. If you describe one after the other, the largest action films, next there was comedy, give the number. Thirdly were thrillers, give the number. Coming in fourth, or the second least popular, were science fiction and Western films, which both had 10% if we look at the y-axis. And finally, the least popular film amongst men was romantic comedies. If you're doing that, that is too much detail, it's repetitive, and it's going to affect your task achievement. And remember, for this task, we would have another group for women as well. Okay, in the actual test, a task like this, we can see the film genre, favorite film genre for men. There would probably be another half to this task for women. Might not be, but I would be very surprised. Otherwise, you're going to have trouble writing 150 words. Okay, so we've identified some important vocabulary. We're definitely going to give the maximum, definitely give the minimum. Then you've given the range, the top and the bottom. We know everything else must be in between. and we have identified something that we can group, science fiction and westerns. And we've noticed as well, there are some ways that we can compare without having to give all of the data and focusing on excessive detail. So let's have a quick look at a couple of ways that we might do that. So we've got a really simple task for you today. This is going to be an easy one, but just take a minute to read through these three sentences. As you can see at the bottom, there are three words or two words and a phrase that could be used to do some of this comparison. So just take a minute. 1, 2, and 3. What do you think for each? Really easy task today, guys. So I'll just give you a minute while you think about that. Action movies are something as popular as comedy films for men, ... shows that afterwards you would probably give some data. You would give the data for action movies. Don't need to give the data for the comedy films because it's given in the comparison. From reading the comparison, the reader knows or should have a good idea of what the data for comedy would be. Thrillers are something as popular as romantic comedies. And then science fiction films and westerns grouped together are only something as popular as comedies among men. So what do we think for number 1? Really simple task today. Any ideas for number 1? Yeah, good, Aisha. Yeah, it's a nice, easy task today. The main point here is about the, the things that you need to do for your bar charts. Yeah, good, Kristan. Really good. Ella, yeah, good. Well done. So everybody's saying number 1, obviously twice. So we've got 40 and 20. That is twice as action movies are twice as popular as comedy films for men, with 40% of men prefer choosing this as their favorite film or something like that. Okay, good. Number 2, thrillers are something as popular as romantic comedies. Oh, some people got half for number 2. Half for number 2. Don't look at comedies, look at romantic comedies. Thrillers are half as popular as romantic comedies. Are we sure? Ella's saying 3 times. Notice there's romantic comedy is right over there. It's the minimum on the right. It's not the max. Yeah, it's not comedy to the left. So somebody has got it 3. Yeah, okay. So there's a little bit of a trick there. Everybody's stopping at comedies and comparing thrillers to comedies. Keep looking. Look at all the things across the x-axis. The minimum over there on the right is romantic comedies, or as they are sometimes called, rom-coms. Okay, good. With a little bit of pointing, we have all got there in the end. And then number 3, science fiction films and westerns are only, must be. Good. Yeah, good, Ella. Good, Alice. Darren, well done. Yeah, okay, everybody's got that. Half as popular. Sorry, there was a little bit of a trick in there today. Make sure that you're looking at the data very, very carefully. Okay. And the other word that shows us number 3 is half, is only half as popular. Yeah. You wouldn't say only 3 times. 3 times more popular is quite a large difference. Yeah. Oh, somebody saying thrice. Yeah, you could absolutely say thrice. Okay. The other thing that I wanted to mention today was this very dangerous line graph vocabulary. So if we look at this task here, it's a little bit small, but the years there are 1980 and 1990. What lots of people would say, for example, is spending on research and development in industrialized countries increased rapidly So that bottom bar chart, they would say it increased rapidly from 1980 to 1990 because they're drawing attention. This is the largest change. That is a really bad idea because we don't know what happened from 1981 to 1989. We don't have the information in between. In this case, you cannot use that line graph vocabulary that describes the speed or the rate of change. So be really, really careful with your line graph vocabulary. You need to be a little bit critical. Think about it. Can you use it for the bar chart? Lots of people in this task use rapidly to describe the increase in number 3. And that is the wrong vocabulary. It's not rapid. You could say it's significant, it's noticeable, it's large. You could say all of those things. It approximately doubles or it just over doubles. All of that is fine, but do not use a speed word here because you don't know what happened in between these 2 years. And it is incorrect vocabulary usage. So be really, really careful. And that could affect your task achievement It's inaccurate reporting. So be careful with these bar charts. They may look simple, but they can be quite difficult. Very often you are using language of comparison rather than language of speed. The exception, if you have 10 years, 1990, 91, 92, 93, 94, etc., all the way to 2000, you could use that speed vocabulary because you know what happens in the middle. If you've got 2 years quite a long distance apart, be careful. Speed vocabulary may not be appropriate. So you have to use your judgment a little bit as well. Okay, so that's all we've got time for today, guys. I hope it was helpful. Sorry for the stream starting a little bit late today. We just had to fix something with Facebook. But thank you so much, everybody who has joined us. I really appreciate you coming along to these sessions. And I hope to see you next time on Thursday at the later time of 4 p.m. UK time. So take care, everyone. Thanks for joining. Simple task today, but important information about bar charts. See you next time, and bye-bye. Yes, Jayshree, you could say growth there. You're welcome, Ella. My pleasure. Carlos, my pleasure. Great to have you guys joining us. So I hope to see you guys on Thursday, and take care and enjoy the couple of days in between. Bye-bye, everyone. Thank you.